Ghost Las Vegas Regional. Bruce, I know you said you were going to be at hockey practice instead of watching Game 7 yesterday. How was it?
The practice?
Yeah.
It was good. Cole was dangling. Got roasted once one-on-one, so we talked to him about that. And Shannon's sick, so she missed hers, unfortunately. But I did get to see probably half the game live. We've been watching some of it this morning. But at the end of the day, we have obviously footage from earlier in the year and stuff. So, but it was, it was nice not to have to prepare for Edmonton. I'm not going to lie. To get it done in 6, I think any coach would tell you to save that extra game is nice.
And just now looking forward to the Stars. What do you see from them? What's going to be the key to this matchup?
Well, there's some similarities to Edmonton in terms of, they have a dominant line, whether they play them together, split them up. In Hintz, he's just probably as close to McDavid as there's left or is going through the playoffs right now. He's having a great playoff, real dynamic player. Pavelski's probably some similarities to Draisaitl and his ability to finish. And I think they look to, that they've been on the power play more than any team in the playoffs in terms of numbers. So they're looking to create those situations. Similar to Edmonton, they rely on that. So we have to be, again, another series where we're going to have to play with discipline, be hard, but disciplined. So going into a series, having some same tendencies can help you just roll into the next series. But I think it's a different animal in how you're going to score goals against them. They just play a different system in the D zone. It's going to be a lot tougher to get to the front of the net or create situations like Marcia so where he's there by himself. When they're man-to-man in Edmonton, it's don't over-support the puck, try to create some confusion, then work your way in, and hopefully you've lost your check, where I think Dallas will do a better job of limiting those net front opportunities when guys are by themselves.
Mark Anderson, AP, is the all Sun Belt Final Four. What do you think about
We're the most northern team I found out today.
You are, yeah.
Is that crazy, or is it just me?
You were Carolina. You are more than Carolina?
Someone told me that. I don't know. I'm just a Canadian. So.
Well, as a Canadian, what do you think about an all Sun Belt Final Four? Do you think it's...
If the 4 best teams are left, the 4 best teams, doesn't matter where they're from, right? I mean, I think there's that old tradition, original 6, and the Rangers, Bruins, Chicago, someone's usually there, but that's just the way it falls this year. So 4 good hockey teams, and I'm sure they'll create good storylines, and they'll be a deserving champion, that's for sure.
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. We talked before Game 2 about how Marchessault and Smith had yet to find the back of the net and whether that'd be a good thing for the depth. When they're scoring the way they did in Games 5 and 6, is that a good trickle-down effect for the rest of the group? I think it's a difference in the series, right? We got different people contributing, and if certain guys aren't able to score for whatever reason, credit Edmonton for keeping them off the sheet. Maybe the puck didn't find them, whatever the case may be. I think it matters, and good for Marshy. You could see it coming. He was getting into the interior a lot more, getting those opportunities around the front of the net, and eventually the puck finds him enough times. He's on a line where it will find him. Barbashev had found him. Jack's been going there. He scored his goal at the top of the crease the other night in Game 5. So they're getting rewarded for getting their noses dirty. Smitty went to the top of the crease the other night trying to get inside a little more. So I think that's just in the playoffs. You got to be willing to go in there enough times and find pucks. Yeah, you're going to get some stuff off the rush periodically, but it's a lot less. So they adjusted their games, got rewarded. So good for them.
Jesse Granger with The Athletic. Dallas kind of runs its offense around the outside. They like to run things through the point. The way you guys protect the middle, I'm wondering, are you content giving up some zone time and protecting that middle and letting them hold it around the outside?
I think we're always content giving up zone time if it at the expense of that will be interior ice shots and us having numbers there, and that's just the way we play. Until teams break it down consistently, then we'll make adjustments. But even then, you're still trying to shut off areas. Like with Edmonton, they try to always outlet on the weak. I mean, I'm going to get hockey goofy here, but like on the weak side behind the net, Draisaitl waits over there, McDavid, so they can walk up on their forehand out the weak side and make plays from there. So we're certainly adjusted our system a little bit where our lefty tried to stay a little looser and cut some of those plays off and jump him quicker. Our winger on that weak side would go down and play low, which you didn't always have to do during the season. So we certainly did some things to counter that, but they're still good and can still separate. And, Draisaitl, he wants contact sometimes to separate. So even what we're doing didn't always shut them down, but at least it took away options. They didn't have as much time and space. So I think that's what you ultimately want, is try to take away time and space. With Dallas, you'll see a lot of 3 high point shots with that high tip and then the net front present. We know that's coming. There's a lot of teams that do that. I mean, we try to incorporate that in our offense. They're just really good at it. So that's an area that, what are we going to do with our middle forward? You know, are we going to give him the outside, or maybe we protect the middle a little more with him? And that'll be, you know, determine us how as we go. We can have the greatest plan on earth going into it, but until you feel it and see it, then you slowly get, you know, through some of those periods where maybe it works against you to make it work for you. That's just what we have to do. So that's what we're anticipating. If we can break out clean, get in at our end, rebound those pucks quickly, then we won't have to deal with that as much. And some of that happened against Edmonton, and the nights we struggled in our end, it didn't. So I mean, they got good players, and they're going to win some puck battles too. But that's what it's going to come down to, is, you know, make sure you defend it well early, so you don't have to defend it well the entire shift, if that makes any sense.
Pete coached this team last year, so obviously the players are familiar with him. He's familiar with the players. Like, what advantages can you get? Like, what advantages do you know about your old team, and then what advantages do the players know about the system?
Well, I think it'll help them a lot, because he does know individual tendencies of the players and can point out certain things that they may be able to do. You know, I was in Boston 6 years. If we play them tomorrow, I certainly know some of what maybe you don't see on film, the little things of a system, but of an individual. So that's where that he'll help their defensemen against our forwards, or our forwards against their forwards forechecking our D, whatever the case may be. We have a guy in the room, John Stevens, that coached in Dallas last year, so he's going to know individual tendencies of a lot of the Dallas guys. So I think there'll be more information available early in this series. You know, Mish and Craig know Pete maybe how he likes to coach. So I mean, when we have our meeting this morning, I'm just putting my feet up and relaxing, because those guys have all the information, and it's up to me to decide what to do with it in a couple days. So there's a little more knowledge in this series, internal knowledge. We'll see how that plays out.
I was wondering if you, Bruce, could expand a little bit upon what you were talking about earlier about how they defend in the, you know, in front of the net area. Like you were saying, March, so he got that open area a little bit against the Edmonton, but maybe that gets closed off. Against Dallas, it's not as easy to find that ice. Why is it? What do they
Well,
do
Edmonton
there?
was more man-to-man, right? So just if we're going to compare the two. So, I mean, if a forward walked up and a D was locking onto him, like, you know, they may chase him all the way to the blue line. And so we tried to be a little more active with those things to get their D away from the net. And that requires probably the centerman or one of their forwards to be more disciplined to stay near the front of the net if he had Marchessault, for example. And so you test that, and I think it worked to our advantage. They weren't always as disciplined and staying with their check or switching, whatever they're. I'm not in their room, right? I can't tell you, but that's in general, man to man. So we tried to not support the puck carrier right away, because he knew he only had to beat his one check. So that's why that you can see a lot of cutbacks and stuff like that, trying to shake your guy one-on-one. With Dallas, they'll swarm you early. So they may try to outnumber you low, 5 guys or 4 guys to 2 or 3 early to kill those, choke off those cutbacks. So in this series, we'll need to support the puck better early for our first touch, and then maybe change sides out the other side of the net or walk up from there. So, you know, knowing that you're not going to have a lot of time and space early, and it's not just you against your guy, that'll be the difference. And I think their D will be closer to the net. I don't think you'll see them chasing way out. They'll pass those people off to the forwards, and that's where it becomes similar to ours. We don't want our D chasing away from the net. We have big, strong D. We'd like them to defend there. They're used to defending there, and that's why we play the system we do. The disadvantage, what you just asked, ozone possession time sometimes gets tilted because you're passing off people. So we'll try to get to those areas where they pass off people and then see if we can generate from there if we can't attack right away. And so that'll be our plan, and see how it plays out.